Hey guys, so today I'm going to be showing you my routine that I do with my animals every other night. I feed my geckos every other night, and I also have to do things like replace my iguana's water dish, which I try to do every day, and then also fill up tanks that have evaporated some water, so then I don't have to hear the hang on back filters as much. Now this will be the first video also including me feeding Beth, my lovely little leopard gecko there, and she is quite a feisty eater, so that's pretty exciting. So I'm first going to start off with replacing my iguana's water and also filling up water for this. And to do that, I always use this. So I figure out whatever the temperature is in this tank. So it's 79, as you can see there. And then over here, sorry, my room's a bit of a mess. This tank is 70 degrees, and that doesn't have a heater, and it doesn't need one, so that's why it's 70 degrees. And then this tank is 78. So what I'll probably do is go get a bucket filled with around 78 degree water, and then I can fill up those two fish tanks and do Charlie's thing as well. By the way, this setup, it looks really crappy and dangerous, but like Beth's fine in there. And honestly, like, I'm not going to tell you that's the best setup, because it's not at all. It has a heat pad. The heat pad has a thermometer, so that's good. And I need to clean up the poop. There's a bunch of poop on that rock. But that's not her permanent setup at all. And, you know, this, again, looks dangerous, but she can't get up there anyway. I've had it like that for a couple weeks now. But she's going to be going into a really nice... you've seen how I do bioactive enclosures. Like, they're going to be pretty cool with all these plants and stuff. And that's going to be that. But currently, I don't have a whole lot of time, sadly, to work on this. Trust me, I'd like to get this done in like 2 days, but I haven't had a full day to work on this type of stuff in like a really long time. So now I'm going to go get water. Okay, so now that all the fish tanks are filled, and then I got my iguana new water. By the way, I'm going to be doing a new enclosure for the iguana pretty soon, and I will definitely be looking at a way for me to easily change out his water, because it's really just not a super efficient way that I do this. He always uses his water as his bathroom, so it's really hard to keep it clean when I don't have a ton of time to wash it out every time. So I'll try to make it an easier process for me to do so in his next enclosure, which will be much, much bigger, and then this enclosure won't have anything like that. By the way, I spilled that gross stuff on my rug, so I will be washing my rug now, which is just one of the problems with how I do it now. So now the next plan is I need to water all these plants, because I just water them whenever the tops get dry, which is pretty much every other day. And also I'll be watering the terrariums as well as feeding the geckos. So first, what I'll probably start off with, and what I normally start off with, is I'll go get the crusted geckos food. Right now I just have like the old one sitting in there. I'll get that out, wash it out, and then put in the new food and hand feed them. And then I will feed them dewey roaches, spray down the enclosures, spray down the plants, and then I'm done. So now I'm going to go get the food, and then I will feed them. Okay, so for the time being, I just moved my mango trees that were sitting in front of Darwin's enclosure, and here he is in his little spot. He actually doesn't hang out here very often anymore, or as often as he did before. He actually hangs out in the snake plant back there, but I have his food, as you can see right here, and I'm trying to get it the right amount of food so it won't fall off the spoon. And then I just put it in front of him, and we'll see how he goes. He'll probably go pretty crazy for it, as he normally does, which is good. I'm glad. He's really become a really good eater of this food, unlike Teddy, who doesn't seem to care for it at all. Teddy likes Doobie Roaches a lot more, which is something that I don't offer to Darwin as much, because Darwin doesn't take them as often, which is fine. He just doesn't need that type of protein because he's gotten a lot bigger. He's like an adult now, so he's just really not in that need of stuff, and he knows that, so he doesn't generally eat Doobie Roaches. But on the other hand, Teddy needs a lot more Doobie Roaches because he's smaller, so I'll give him a lot more. Yeah, so what I'll do normally is I'll give him food until he'll eat a lot like this, and you kind of see his neck's pretty full, and I don't want him to choke or anything, so I will wait a while and then feed Teddy or something, see how much food I can get Teddy to eat with this, and then I'll come back and feed this guy. But I think he'll actually be done for tonight. Now I'm going to be feeding Teddy, but I'm not going to show you him eating this stuff because he really doesn't eat a whole lot of it, and it takes a while. So the next thing you'll see is me getting Doobie Roaches to feed them. Okay, so I fed him a second time, and I got Teddy to eat a decent amount. But as you can see, I got stuff all over the glass there, and I will fix that in a second. But now I'm going to be coming down here to this lovely little area that I keep my Doobie Roaches. So I keep them in an underbed thing, and I will definitely be changing their enclosure soon. Literally every single enclosure in my room will be changing, which is the only one that might pretty much be the same is the 55-gallon community fish tank. But other than that, everything has plans to change, including the Doobie Roach enclosure. Here, look, that's cool. I like Doobie Roaches a lot, but as you can see, this one just shed out, so real fragile one there. So here's something really cool that I'm really excited about. I got tweezers to get the Doobie Roaches now, so I'm going to be picking out big Doobie Roaches, a little bit smaller than that one, and some ones that are quite smaller than that for Teddy. So I take my container here and I just set it back here, and then what I do is I'll lift up this one and I will proceed to grab the right size Doobie Roaches for what I'm trying to feed. So right now I'm trying to feed Beth, my leopard gecko, obviously, and then Teddy. So I get some decent sized ones for Beth, but I try to kind of keep it on the lower side because I'll just feed her a lot more of smaller ones, if that makes sense. Kind of smaller ones, and I don't want to feed her too big of ones because I do want eventually for some of these to become adults, and then they will breed for me and everything. But this makes it a lot more simple with having the tweezers now rather than using my fingers. But the real thing with the tweezers is because since I have the leopard gecko, I now need to dip these in supplements, and which wasn't something that I had to deal with before with the with the crested geckos, because the crested geckos eat that diet, and that diet has everything they need. But now that I have to do the leopard gecko, I need to have something to grab or to set the Doobie Roaches into the stuff. So here I have 3 big ones and then some smaller sized ones. I think I'm gonna want to go down another level with the egg crate here, and I'll flip over this one, and here's a bigger one for that. Okay, I believe those are now enough, and now I will come up and feed Beth. So here's Beth in all her glory, and I actually need to give her some water, and she'll have a much bigger water dish. She thought that was the tweezers, but she'll have a much bigger water dish in her new enclosure, so it will never go dry like that at all. So I keep the stuff in a closed peanut butter jar, and then what I'll do is I'll start with the biggest dubia roach, and I'll get them out of I have the container up here, and I'll drop them in, and I'll shake it around. I have the container sitting right on top, as you can see there. And then once it's all shaken around, I grab the dubia roach and I offer it to Beth. This one's quite a big one. So, as you can see, she is quite the eater, and I'm quite excited to get her into the 40-gallon, because obviously that'll double her size here, but it's also going to be bioactive, and I don't think I will be the only one enjoying it. I think that she will as well. Just a little bit of background on Beth. Beth is about 2 years old. I think she is a tangerine leopard gecko. I forget. I have it somewhere in my notes, but I'm not sure. I don't really worry about morphs too much. And I rescued her recently, and that's why she's not in... Shoot. I just lost that dubia roach. That's why she's not in her proper enclosure yet, but she was in a 20-gallon. That's what she's been in her whole life, so I'm excited to upgrade her. And I believe she ate mealworms before with the people that had her before, but she's been eating dubia roaches for me, no problem. And I actually breed the dubia roaches. There. Sorry, I just had to... I don't like when the dubia roaches get out into her enclosure. I don't like to leave them there, so. By the way, if you guys were wondering, these are pretty much just normal tweezers. There's not really anything special about them. I think they might be like planting tweezers for like aquarists, people who like have planted plants in aquariums, so they can take the tweezers and plant it down into the substrate. And I think I got those because just in case I wanted to use mine for water related things or anything when it comes to fish tanks, I wouldn't want them like rusting or anything. So I don't know if that's something you have to worry about, but they were pretty cheap, under $10, and I got 2 pair, and they're both pretty long and they work really well for feeding. And I think I'll stop with that. She's like not something that I worry about when it comes to eating at all, which is very exciting. And now I'm going to be feeding Teddy, and then I'll real quick spray everything down, and then this video will be over. Any extra dubia roaches I just simply put right back in, and then I slide my dubia roach thing back under my bed. If you enjoyed this video, like it down below. If you have any comments or concerns, put in the comments below, and if for more content, then subscribe. Have a fantastic day, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Peace.